Hi, I'm Joseph Hunter. I'm a professor of educational administration at Western Washington University. I want to explain to you a project that I've discussed with your administrator, and I would like to explain it to you so that you can consider whether you would like to participate. The title of my project is Distance Education and COVID-19. I'm trying to figure out what perceptions are among educators and parents and students and what the best practices are. The project will actually involve K-12 schools. There are students involved from kindergarten all the way through high school, not looking at using any students or schools that are beyond K-12 or prior to K-12. The purpose of this project really is to take a look at the current pandemic challenges for both public and private school leaders and teachers in terms of teaching and learning. Among those challenges is facilitating teaching and learning using distance technology. As we have all learned, this distance technology that we've been asked to use during the pandemic, it's sort of a spectrum of teaching tools and strategies, including online teaching and learning and hybrids, which use a combination of face-to-face instruction at school buildings with some online learning. And that can be either synchronous or asynchronous, as well as a blended approach. A blended approach is where some students would be in the physical classroom while others are coming in using distance technology to participate in synchronous instruction. So these particular approaches use tools like Zoom, Google Hangout, Google Meets, Microsoft Teams. All these terms are probably very familiar to you now, since most of you have been involved in some way with distance learning during this pandemic. So the strategies that people are using now were by and large not widely used by K-12 schools prior to the pandemic. And so what happened is that K-12 schools across the US and in Canada and many other parts of the world were sort of thrown quickly into the expectation that they could use these tools and facilitate learning for students. And what a number of U.S. national research organizations found is that teachers and students weren't prepared to use these tools because it had not been a major expectation. It was a crisis need that school districts did their best to respond to. But what I'm trying to do in this research project is to assess what actually happened during the first part of the pandemic, how teachers and students and parents and administrators and school districts have responded to this crisis, and what additional training would have been useful prior to the crisis, what additional professional development could be useful now in current environments, which may be blended, and what additional training would be useful in the future should we face additional shutdowns of schools or the need for using distance technology in hybrid learning situations, whether it's synchronous or asynchronous education. So I expect that the project will span a full academic year, and that academic year would be about now. Here in the next few weeks, we'll start off with a survey, and it'll go through to June of next year. This is mainly doing surveys. It's a needs survey to figure out what additional professional development would be helpful to parents and to teachers. The rationale behind focusing on those two populations is that it really is teachers with the support of administrators that are challenged with using these tools. And in a situation where students are at home and they aren't able to access school buildings and have direct instruction with their teachers, then it's parents who are at home trying to support their student in the use of distance technology. So my hope is to assess both teacher needs and parent needs so that we provide professional development to both populations. So should there be a need for additional use of hybrid instruction in the future, there's more training, and the hope would be that students would gain more in terms of academic performance and learning with additional training. So procedures that will be used is, number one, there will be an initial survey, which I hope to do within the next couple of weeks. And this will be a perception and needs survey. Will be given to teachers and administrators for schools, and then parents who are associated with individual schools. We'll look at what successes were experienced in the use of distance technology during this crisis, and then what additional challenges are still present, and that will allow me to then go out with the grant that I received. This is a substantial grant that will allow me to hire professionals that could come and provide professional development to teachers and to parents. Then after that professional development's been given, we will track the use of the distance learning tools in any places where a need for using distance learning because of the pandemic. We'll track the use of that and continue to assess what teacher and parent needs are and provide ongoing training. The wrap of the project will be a final survey in the spring of 2022 to assess the impact that the professional development had on teaching and learning. So that's a quick explanation of the project. My contact information will be given to your administrators, and you can contact me directly if you have additional questions. But should you and your district decide that you want to participate in this project, I will send you a survey as well as an informed consent explanation. That is simply where I, in writing, a simple summary, explain the project again and give you the opportunity to individually indicate your interest and willingness to participate in the project and receive the professional development. Thank you for your time. I look forward to working with you in the future.